What's going on, everybody? This is Aaron from the Nostalgic Nerd Podcast YouTube channel. I wanted to come on here and do a little bit of a spoiler review for the new Superman movie that came out, of course, last week. I went and saw it on Friday. I liked it a lot. Um, Definitely were some things in the movie that were a little jarring as far as like a lot of the humor, just the difference it was from the Zack Snyder universe. Some people will hate it, some people will love it. But once you get past the tonal shift, I think is when you can really lean into this movie. It is a comic book movie. It is unashamed. And once you can accept that and kind of get into the universe for what it is, I think you really enjoy it. I'm just going to go over some things that were that stood out to me in no particular order. This is not exactly a, scene for scene spoiler review, but these are just some things that I really that stood out to me in the movie. Of course, the first thing is Superman's origin change. His Kryptonian parents are not like other iterations of Superman. Clark thinks that they're this great, awesome, loving race, and they send him to Earth to protect him and save him. He has a message from them that's damaged, so he only hears the beginning part. Anytime he goes into the fortress to heal or whatever, he listens to the same recording that they sent him on his way to Earth. Lex, on the other hand, is trying to find a way to get Superman out of the way in this movie. So him and the engineer at some point make their way to the fortress, and they're able to get inside because they have someone with them that has Superman's DNA. But we don't know that yet early in the movie. They're able to get into the fortress, and of course, they get a hold of the recording. The engineer is able to fix the recording, which is broken, and we find out that, of course, Superman's parents essentially have sent him to Earth to conquer and to take on many wives and repopulate the planet. A new Krypton, I guess you could say. A lot of people have a problem with this revision of the origin. If you watch Smallville, you know that it was a similar kind of origin, at least through the first 5 seasons, and then they kind of retconned it. In Smallville, he's essentially, raised by the Kents to be this great person, and turns out, Jor-El sent him to Earth to conquer and all this other stuff. Of course, by like season 6, they retcon all that, but it's not the first time that's happened. And it's not for everybody. And I think a lot of people have a right to be upset because maybe that's just not how they want to view Superman and his Kryptonian heritage, but that's the way that they go in this movie. Another thing is Superman cares about life, all life, squirrels, dogs, people. They make it abundantly clear in this movie when he's saving the falling building so that the lady doesn't get crushed, or they save the little girl from getting hit by a bunch of debris from the kaiju, or Superman, they make a point to show his appreciation for life and that he wants to protect it at all costs, which is a complete 180 juxtaposition from the Man of Steel movie. I love those, the Zack Snyder kind of universe that he created, the gritty, kind of more realistic, grounded universe. But I always had an issue with all the people that died and all the destruction that happened in that movie. And this movie plays it up as a comic book movie, and they really show Superman's almost an obsession to protect all life. Another thing that stood out in this movie was you see Miss Tessmacher in the trailers. She's taking selfies of herself. It looks dumb. It looks stupid. But it becomes pivotal in the plot because she is essentially sourcing information from herself to Jimmy Olsen. And she's pretty much, telling Jimmy Olsen all of Lex's plans and what he plans to do and all that stuff. She's kind of going behind Lex's back. Apparently, she must not love him anymore, or she finds out what kind of person he really is. And if you see all the selfies in the movie, you see that the selfies all have pertinent information in the background to the plot of the movie and how to stop Lex. And they use it, and it's a really interesting way to go about it. But I loved it. I thought it was It was not catchy, but it was it was different because you see uh, these throwaway scenes and these throwaway pictures, and then you realize that all of it has pertinent information to the plot. Um, of course, the Justice Gang all have a thing to do in this movie. You know, Guy Gardner looks ridiculous, but has a place in this movie. He ends up being one of my favorite characters. He helps at the end save the villagers from the invasion, the war in Baravia. And, you know, the little boy wants Superman, but he shows up at the end and says, you know, pretty much like, I'm here. I'm going to help you. He's a jerk. He's a douche, but I thought it was interesting. Metamorpho, of course, has Clark poisoned with kryptonite. Then he asks Clark to save his son because his son is also in the pocket universe that Lex has captured. That ends up happening. He helps Clark heal before Clark rejoins the fray at the end of the movie. He becomes, you know, an integral part of the plot. Mr. Terrific is absolutely ridiculously awesome. He helps Lois find Clark to get into the pocket universe. His little, I don't even know what you could call them, nano cameras, they're these orbs that float around him that help him. It's just amazing. His character is the coolest character in the movie. He helps Lois find Clark in the pocket universe. Just really, really awesome. Of course, we find out that Ultraman and the Hammer of Bravia are the same person. He's inside of the Hammer of Bravia. Turns out he's a clone of Superman, a stupid clone, aka, I guess you could say he's like Bizarro. And he is used by Lex because he's so slow and dumb to fight Superman, and they use him as a puppet. And they end up going at it towards the end of the movie. Of course, he gets sent into the pocket universe as it closes. Um, a lot of people, including myself and my brother, think that he's essentially Bizarro in this movie. Um, but you find that out. I think a lot of us knew that that's who he was. Some people were hoping it was Henry Cavill, but that didn't happen. It was, in fact, David Cornsweet playing both characters. So I thought that was awesome. Um, this movie isn't for everybody, people. This movie isn't for everybody. If you're not a big fan of comic book movies that have a lot of jokes and a lot of camp, then it isn't for you. But if you like movies that lean really heavy into comic source material, then I think you'll enjoy this movie very much. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait till we see another movie, hopefully, of this DC brand. Of course, the last thing is Kara shows up at the end of the movie looking for crypto. She's a mess. She's a drunk. As Clark says, she hangs off planets that have a red sun so that she can get wasted. She's got a lot of issues. She's definitely wasn't raised like Clark. It leans in heavily to the comic book, and that's where they got pretty much their source material. It's called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Um, a complete different origin story from Clark. She is a dysfunctional person who has a lot of personal issues, and it looks like they're going to lean into that with the movie that comes out next year. I would assume we're going to see David Cornsweet in that movie in some sort of some sort of cameo. I mean, of course, we know Jason Momoa is going to play Lobo, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, those were my little things that I thought stood out in the movie. If you have any other stuff that you really liked or things that stood out to you, let me know in the comments down below. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday, and I will talk to you on the other side. Take care, everyone.